Hi, everybody. First of all, sorry I couldn't do my training in class. Monday, my daughter, who's 8, has surgery in Riverside, so if you could keep her in prayer, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'd like to open up with a scripture from Psalm 118:24, which says, "This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." So just wanted to share that with you. And then I'm going to move right into my training. My training is geared towards teachers and principals. The PowerPoint goes over a training that enables the teachers to go into the classroom and use this PowerPoint with the students so that the students can be trained for sexual harassment in the workplace. This is designed for career classes and then also different senior classes. So let's jump right into it. So you can see on my screen I have it up. So here's my first slide. It's sexual harassment. The lesson purpose is to define what sexual harassment is, to learn the difference between sexual harassment and flirting, which is actually really important when it comes to students and young adults because, as many of you know, generations after generations change, and they need to know a good definition between the two of those. And then also we're going to learn what to do if someone is sexually harassing you. So although this training is geared towards teachers to implement into the classroom and principals to share with their teachers, this also is a great reminder for staff as they're going through it in a training. It's going to be really beneficial to all the staff members as well. So, okay, sexual harassment definition. It means bothering someone in a sexual way. It is unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of sexual nature. It is the behavior that is not only unwelcome, but in most cases it's repeated. The goal is not sexual pleasure, but gaining power over another. Also, a definition is men and women in non-traditional jobs. So females in the construction work or a male secretary often get sexually harassed. And then lastly, it cannot be tolerated anywhere. Okay, so sexual harassment is in the eye of the beholder, defined from its victim's point of view, not the harasser. So we'll get into this more into my PowerPoint, but as each person is their own individual, we have different beliefs, we have different senses of humor, we are made up differently. And so that's why we stress professionalism and respect in the workplace, because your coworker might not think that a dirty joke is funny like someone else does, or the same is not just with sexual harassment, but also with cussing or talking derogatory in any kind of way. So it's just not appropriate for the workplace, as we all know. But we still have to be trained on it, and we have to help train others. Okay, so it's against federal law. That's, the most important thing here. There are two different kinds of sexual harassment. One is quid pro quo, which means something is given in return for something else. And then also there is a hostile environment. It can poison the employee's work environment because it's repeated. Sexual favoritism can be a supervisor who rewards only those who submit to sexual demands. And then there's non-employees in the workplace. So employers can be held responsible for harassment by people outside the company that come in and do business, or are vendors in the workplace. So of course it's against federal law. It's also against California law where we live. Verbal harassment if it's said or if it's heard. Visual harassment, it can be seen. Physical harassment, which is touch. And then sexual favors, something given in return for something else. Verbal examples: calling girls names like doll, babe, or honey, whistling at someone and doing cat calls, making suggestive sexual comments about a person's body, their clothing, or their looks, telling sexual jokes, stories, or teasing, asking sexual questions, repeatedly asking out a person who is not interested, and making kissing sounds, howling, smacking lips. As funny as that may sound, even reading it, it's very serious and it's very offensive to most people. And then another verbal example is telling lies, spreading rumors about person's sex life. So visual examples I want to give you is written comments, notes, poems, letters, or pictures of a sexual nature. Looking a person up and down. This actually is one of the biggest offensives that I can see on all kinds of different websites, which is their number one visual example is luring at somebody and looking them up and down. So staring, leering at someone, giving personal gifts, displaying sexually suggestive visuals or objects, also making facial expressions such as winking, throwing kisses, or licking lips, making sexual gestures with hands or body movements. Now, I do want to touch on the subject that, of course, we know that this is wrong in a professional atmosphere, but it is something that when you throw down at a training or even just an inter-office kind of short meeting, when you throw down all these different no-nos, so to say, all these different behavioral types that are not acceptable, when you discuss them, it really does hit home and people say, yeah, that's not acceptable and that's not okay. So now we have physical examples. So inappropriate or unwanted touching, such as groping, pinching, grabbing, or body parts. Unwanted patting, hugging, or kissing. Hugging is a really big offense because many men, especially on many websites that I found that are credible, had said that hugging had got them in trouble because they thought it was okay, but to just even do it once or too many times was really offensive to many of their female counterparts at work. So that's definitely one you want to be careful of. Another physical example is tearing or pulling at a person's clothing, including snapping bras, pulling down pants, flipping skirts. Standing in someone's way or standing too close in a way that makes a person feel uncomfortable. Brushing or bumping against a person on purpose in a way that makes the person uncomfortable. Blocking a person's path or following the person. And then, of course, force, rape, and physical assault are physical examples of sexual harassment. Okay, so sexual favor examples, it's about power. And it's using the position, which is typically upper management, to request dates or sex from an employee. Also threats. Something is given in return for something else, which is the quid pro quo. Another sexual favor is demands. Also threats like loss of job. And then there's also the selection process of demotion or promotion, depending on, if you aid the person in the sexual harassment or not. Okay, so now sexual harassment is a legal problem. It concerns schools and employers. It gets worse when it is ignored. It should be talked about to create a healthy school or work environment. It can be embarrassing to talk about, and it should never be tolerated. So what to do? When possible, confront the harasser. Let them know what you don't like and tell them to stop. If they don't stop or you are uncomfortable confronting, which is really a number one out there in the work field, many people are uncomfortable with confronting the situation. So we want to advise the students, talk to your parents or another adult that you feel comfortable with. Talk to your work supervisor, your teacher, your counselor, or your principal so that somebody can help the situation get resolved quickly. So what will happen? An investigation will be conducted and appropriate action is taken. The employer and school officials should follow up to make sure it does not happen again. And then the student or the student's parents, if the student is a minor, could choose to have the harasser arrested. So now we really want to pinpoint the difference between sexual harassment and flirting, because many students, this is their first time going out into the work environment, and they need to know the difference between the two. So sexual harassment is about power. It's hostile. It feels bad. It is one-sided, and it is degrading. It feels unattractive. On the other hand, if two individuals are flirting, it's fun, it's friendly, it feels good, it's reciprocal, it feels attractive, and it's a compliment most of all. So again, sexual harassment, to continue, feels powerless. It's power-based, it's negative touching, it is unwanted, which is really the number one in sexual harassment. It is extremely illegal and invading. So flirting, which is the complete opposite, feels like the two individuals are in control. It's equal. It's positive touching, which we want to discuss, we keep at a minimum in the workplace. But positive touching would be if it was on accident, when you grab a pen from someone else and you touch their hand. Of these two individuals who may be flirting in the workplace, and it's fun and friendly, or they're hand me my lunch bag in the lunchroom and you touch hands. Well, that's something, but it's not aggressive touching, not at all. So flirting is wanted, it is legal, and it is open. Nobody, there's no laws or rules against that. Okay. So one more slide. These definitions are just really good because you can see how they are polar opposite of each other. So sexual harassment is demeaning. It's sad and angry. It's negative self-esteem. It's condescending. It's aggression, exploitation, and it's dominating. So on the flip of the coin, flirting, again, is flattering. It's happy. It's a positive self-esteem. It compliments. It is affection. It's exciting, and it is delightful. So you can see I'm at the end of my PowerPoint. This is the end. This is where I would ask if there was any questions in the classroom, but I won't be there. So I just want to tell you all to have a great last day in class. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all.